Money. 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 Money.
Any particular?
No, either one.
Why don't you let Mr. Political first?
It's already set up and he's okay with it. It's gonna be like one and then the other. We're gonna ask like 3 questions and then like 4 minutes like a closing question. It's simple and no rebuttal, so it's just gonna be answering questions on you. That's it. You good with this?
Or what if we do it this way, pero como quiera, ponemos así, like center. I don't know how to do this. No, I meant
Tell them that take a seat and then like 1 minute later you can
así.
tell them to take a seat. We're gonna start in 1 minute.
Good afternoon. We're going to start in about 1 minute, so please take a seat. Hi, good afternoon. We are the Progressive Young Democrats at UTRGV. We are an organization of students of minorities who seek out to increase progressive values in the Democratic Party through student grassroots efforts. The following questions were taken from submissions from other UTRGV student organizations, students, and submissions on our website. Each candidate will have 2 to 4 minutes to answer each question. There are no rebuttals allowed, nor should they be necessary, as answers should focus on each candidate's own policies, not on their opponents. Oh, sorry. Do you guys want me to repeat anything?
No.
It's okay? Sorry. Okay. We're going to start at 6:10 for the questions, so just gonna wait a second. Ready?
Who goes first? Ricky?
You can go first.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay. The Section 287 program allows certain state and local enforcement agencies to engage in federal immigration enforcement activities. The ACLU has strongly opposed the 287G program, believing it has led to illegal racial profiling and civil rights abuses while diverting scarce resources from traditional local law enforcement functions and distorting immigration enforcement's priorities. Will you sign on this program on behalf of Hidalgo County, and how will you enforce immigration laws?
Well, actually, I think that immigration laws are a federal issue. And as a matter of fact, as it is right now, Hidalgo County is spending between $16,000 and $18,000 a day holding immigration violators. When you have people that go through our court system, they get arrested for whatever it is. They go through our court system, their case is disposed, they're supposed to be released. But what's happening is ICE is putting a hold on these inmates for 60 to 90 days for them to decide what they're gonna do. Now, we are having to pay for that. And there is no way that the taxpayer should be footing that bill, because it's an immigration violation. Then the federal government either needs to transfer these individuals to a federal facility or send them to Mexico or whatever country they're gonna send them to. It's not our responsibility to be a detention center for the federal government. Now, I believe that it's a responsibility, either they help us fund it, because we're spending $60 a day per inmate. The jail's overcrowded, the jail that we built, however, we built it with infrastructure to add 200 bed pods. That hasn't happened. That needs to happen. But at the same time, we need to start sending the bill to the federal government, or we need to release the individuals after their case is disposed of in Hidalgo County.
Same question?
Yes.
Okay. I guess you're talking somewhat about like sanctuary city rules, yeah. Well, you know, this has been debated, and this is a difficult problem that we have in the United States, because we are a country of laws, and laws should be followed and adhered to. The question is, who has the responsibility? Well, immigration is the responsibility of the federal government. So I believe that we should leave it with the federal government. When you start having local jurisdictions delve into federal issues, or even state issues for that matter, then we're going beyond really the scope of what our county government should be. I would be totally opposed to any of that, because we have enough problems to solve and enough business to work on and to take on some federal issues. Having said that, you know, we are a country of laws, and laws should be adhered and followed. So whatever we can do to help federal government and state governments, you know, have a more orderly society and community, then I would be in favor of at least discussing those items and coming up with a resolution that will best serve the community.
When considering incentives for new business development in Hidalgo County, what will prioritize first and foremost? Jobs and economic growth, or environmental impact? How will you seek constituent input on these decisions?
Well, that's a very good question. It gets easier when you're looking at it from a county point of view than from a municipal point of view. Businesses are going to come to Hidalgo County whether we give them incentive or not. It's always a judgment call as to what businesses are worthy of some incentive. Usually a first-to-market business is a unique business that maybe needs a little catalyst, a little incentive for bringing them here. So I would start with first to market. If there's something that we don't have in Hidalgo County, that would be certainly something to qualify. If you're looking, let's say, for maybe like another restaurant to come over here, that's probably not a good idea to give incentives to that, because we have a lot of restaurants already that didn't get an incentive. So that would be kind of an unfair competition. But to me, the best approach to economic development is you have to have a master plan. And the master plan basically dictates to you what you should have to serve that community, and the things that you don't have that's identified in that master plan. Then that's what you go after, in your economic development program. I am going to spend a lot of time in that, because the way that we're going to solve our budgetary problems is we have to grow our revenues. We can't solve budgetary problems by cutting expenses, because when you cut expenses, whose job are you going to cut, or what services are you going to cut? The way you solve budgetary problems is to grow revenues. So how do you grow revenues? You become more productive. We have 35% of the people in Hidalgo County are below the poverty line, are poor, and therefore they're really not taxpayers, because unfortunately they don't have the assets for us to tax. So that's why UTRGV and South Texas College are very important, because we need to build that human capital and train our people so they can get out of the welfare line and become taxpayers.
There's a difference between cities that grow revenue and a county that is a fee-for-service type of government. The county gives a service, say a records recording, and you pay for it. The only way that the county can grow revenues is by raising taxes. And I'm against raising taxes. Now, what I would do is, the brain power that we have, that is graduating from UTRGV and graduating from STC, is tremendous. But there's no jobs, because we are not promoting ourselves, and there are no incentives that, if we don't go put ourselves in front of the companies up north with statistics and tell them this is how many, we graduate 12,000 kids per year, if not more. But where's the jobs? There's no jobs. So here you have the kids and the families, and probably why a lot of the families have a hard time making ends meet is because the kids borrow their loans to go to college, get their degree, and they come out and they can't find a living wage. They're earning minimum wage, working at a restaurant. So who winds up paying that student loan? It's mom and dad. And that is why I'm very firm on creating enterprise zones. Now, enterprise zones is not a thing of the past. This is something that is real. But Hidalgo County has not done its part to go after the infrastructure money, to create the infrastructure. And there's also 1.2 billion in private money. It's tax deferred of some people who prefer to put it up for other companies to use and be paying taxes on it. That money can be used for companies to come from the north down here to Hidalgo County and create 2,000 and 3,000 jobs. My last term, when I was as a county judge, we were in the process of creating an enterprise industrial zone with the city of San Antonio, where the city of San Antonio is turning companies away because they can no longer accommodate them. I am already talking to the mayor of San Antonio and creating a sister type of industrial zone in Hidalgo County, where instead of them turning companies away, they're willing to send them to Hidalgo County. And I'm already working on that, and I'm looking forward to, after March 6th, to start working on it even harder and stronger to create the jobs for you kids and the kids that are becoming and the kids that are out there having a hard time finding a job. We're going to bring you the jobs, and you can count on that. Thank you.
Data.gov is the federal government's open data site and aims to make government more open and accountable. Opening government data increases citizen participation in government and creates opportunities for economic development and enforces the decisions making in both the private and public sectors. Data.gov implements the executive order on making government data open and machine readable, as well as the federal open data policy. How and when will you introduce open data, a new tech application at the county level?
When we took office back in 1999, we were the first governmental entity that introduced open government. We're the ones that started televising the meetings on KMBH at 10:30 at night. Now, I believe in open government because I think that, especially with data, now, we know that there's a lot of hacking that happens, but I would be very pro making, especially with government. You know, when our county is spending this past year, $208 million per year. The last year that I was a county judge, our budget was $67.8 million. So it's grown about 3 times. But yet, we're doing the same thing. We haven't built any new facilities. We haven't built any sidewalks. And we're spending 3 times the money. Now, I believe, and if I understand the question correctly, when we start talking about open government, we start talking about people being able to see how your money is being spent. I was talking to a gentleman earlier where we have employees that come in earning 60, 70,000 and supervising people who've been here 10 years and 12 years that are earning $10,000 less. I want to open government to the point to where the monthly check register can be viewed online by everybody. So you know where your money is being spent, and you know who's spending it and who's getting paid by your hard-earned tax dollars, and whether we're squandering your money or it's being used effectively. So I take it that's where we were, what the question was, more or less?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Open government is essential to a free society. Every taxpayer has a right to know everything about the actions of the government. The only exception are things that are discussed in executive session, and the reason for that is that sometimes you're talking about personnel issues, you're talking about economic development issues, where if you start disclosing your strategies for economic development issues like incentives and stuff like that, that would not be in the public interest. But I think the law already provides for that after the discussion is held in executive session and the transaction has been consummated, then that information is available to the public. So to me, I think we're already there because I know that in the city of McAllen, where I sit in the government there, we've had that open policy for forever. We think it makes us better. You know, corruption is a matter of a factor of fraud. And in order for you to have fraud, you have to have an opportunity. That's why part of the systems and part of the experience that I have is I have specific training for that type of thing, to be able to eliminate the opportunity for somebody for a wrongdoing to occur. So part of what I would like to do, you know, when I become your next county judge is to fix those things that need fixing and put the systems in place to take away opportunities from people that want to do bad things. And I would always be for open government and showing you exactly what we're doing. Sometimes we're going to make mistakes, and it's good for us to admit them to our public. I don't know of anybody that's never going to make a mistake. But I think open government gives you a better government and a better chance of good government. So I will be 100% for it.
Anyone seeking the Democratic nomination for the highest office in the county must be a productive and loyal member of the party. How have you supported Democratic candidates in the past, and have you ever supported a Republican candidate? If so, why? We remind you, candidates, that all campaign contributions are a matter of public record.
Sure. I have been a lifelong Democrat. My family was a Democrat, and I've been a Democrat. I have never voted for a Republican primary in my entire life. As I have been a mayor owning an international bridge in a city that 45% of the revenues come from Mexico, it has been very important for me to pay a lot of attention to policy having to do with foreign trade. I'm also a board member of International Bank of Commerce. International Bank of Commerce is a multi-billion-dollar bank that does business primarily in the border. So we're obviously affected by policy that federal government or state governments have regarding any issues of procurement or any issues dealing with international trade. Because I've been also chairman of the Border Trade Alliance and the vice chairman of the Texas Border Coalition, these are organizations. Border Trade Alliance is a tri-national organization of Canadians, Americans, and Mexicans. They're for free trade. We took part in drafting NAFTA. So all of those issues are very important. So when our federal government is controlled by Republicans, when our state government is controlled by Republicans, those are the decision makers. In the past, I have been asked to contribute to Republicans in high places and policyholders so we can have a voice in the table. So when you say, have I supported Republicans from the standpoint of financial support, I have and given them contributions. But here in the Rio Grande Valley, I have always voted for our Democratic candidates that we have here in Hidalgo County. I don't know if that totally answers your question, but I'm a Democrat. I've contributed to Republicans for the reasons that I just stated. As the county judge, we're going to continue to have issues dealing with federal issues. We talked about one earlier, about the sanctuary cities. Right now, people are afraid to go outside sometimes because they're afraid that they're going to be stopped. And there's a lot of people here that just simply will not go out. How would you like to feel that you're living in America and you have children going to school and you're afraid to get up in the morning because of fear of some policeman catching you and finding you for a small violation, and all of a sudden you're being deported to back to your country of origin? If you don't think the county judge ought to look into those things, then I think you're wrong, because I think that would be a very important thing. So who would be in power? Well, those are the ones that you need to go talk to. Those are the ones that you need to have relationships with so you can try to solve the problems.
My opponent says that he was asked to donate to the Republican Party.
I thought you weren't going to do it.
No. Well, I'm making a point.
He's making
Now, anyway, but yet supported McCain against Obama, supported Trump against Hillary, has supported every Republican that has been on the ballot since 2001. Now, I have never, ever supported a Republican, have never given him a penny, and I would never support a Republican, simply because of how anti-American they are. I'm talking about because what they're doing now is shameful, is heartless, and to support, and even to make excuses as to why I want to support. I have to support because international business, the Mexicans are not Republicans. Now, to me, if you make a mistake, what you need to do is say, you know what, I apologize, I messed up, and I won't do it again. But it's only when the young Republicans came up and said that they were upset because after he pays money to their club and then turns their back on him, saying, no, I'm going to run as a Democrat because I have a better chance of getting elected. And then they turn around and say, you know what, we're going to endorse Mr. Pulido because at least he's for real. Now, it's not about a rebuttal. It's about truth. It's about telling you the truth about who we are and what we are. Because I think it's important for us to, because if you can't be truthful to you,